Hey everybody, I'm back. I was so nervous about this week because last week started as a chance, and it was just so random. Once again, my name is Ukanya Langa. I'm a small town girl, village girl actually. I'm from Mzimkulu. I'm a Baka woman, and I come here to speak to you because I've shared a lot of experiences within myself, my community, people I've met, and I have a passion for sharing. So I've had these experiences in life that I can't contain. Like, by profession, I'm an accountant, so well, an auditor right now. So I I sometimes share things that are like, what? What are you saying? We're supposed to be professional. Like, I can't help myself. I enjoy talking and finding out other people's experiences and having a sense of community because when we share, we get to have a sense of community. We're not alone. You're not alone. Like in the sharing, there is healing. In the sharing, there is growing because something's uncomfortable, you find out things that will shake you. And in the things that I've experienced, I always said to God, there's no way you just did this. Like, there's no way that you would allow me to go through all these things just for Nje. Like, so me posting these videos is part of my testimony. It is also part of my teachings. I'm imperfect. I always say this. I'm broken. I'm imperfect, and I am continuously learning. I've never had it all together. If you've been a part of my life, you'd know it's a rock star show. It's a roller coaster. It's a constant what's going on? And yo, we're back. And then yo, it's just everything and anything can happen. And I've tried to shy away from it and be someone I'm not, but I am this person. And God has placed me on this earth for a reason. And I am passionate about sharing and caring. So I'll try my best to share from my knowledge, my understanding, and what is my truth. And I hope that in sharing, I may, you know, filter through, that somebody else may find healing, may find that they're not alone, may find release, may find laughter sometimes, because sometimes I don't know what I'm gonna share. It's just whatever God decides that week. I'll pray about it, I'll share it with you, good and bad, comfortable and uncomfortable, funny and not, either way, it's going to happen. So when you do tune in, just know that you are open to all kinds of experiences and your comment is welcome. Doesn't necessarily mean that it will be appreciated or answered or anything, but it is welcome, yeah. So basically me talking to you is because I feel like I've overcome a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things and I'm still standing. I'm still hurt. I'm still broken. I cry all the time. I fall all the time. I make so many mistakes and like I try to be perfect. I'm that type of person that tries to be perfect, but I never get it right. And that's where God's glory comes in, because had I been perfect, I wouldn't need him, Now that I know I need him each and every time, I will try and I will try even harder. So, without derailing too much, this week's topic is oh, by the way, the name of the show is Off Topic. Did I say that? It's off topic because we'll never be on topic per se, but whatever we speak about will be heard. It will have sense. It will have value, but I highly doubt it. So long clearly endaweni one in yabo. It's a story, but we'll get there. It's this is my second showing. I'm yet to grow. I'm yet to have wallpaper behind me. I don't know how far this is gonna go, but I know that I've always loved talking and sharing, and yeah. So, anyways, this week's topic is, I was challenged with this statement: "You care too much what people think of you." It's actually 1:52 right now. I thought I would wake up in the morning and start talking, but then like I couldn't sleep. Like it was burning inside of me. And so let me begin. Let me stop procrastinating. Okay, cool. So you care too much what people think of you. Oh, that was something. And I have a lot of things to say about this topic. I hope that I can at least confine them to 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes of your time, guys. But yeah, let's see what God can do through me with this topic. I'll share a few stories. So I grew up in a small town called Umzimkulu. Grew up without my mom being there, and my father was working in Pietermaritzburg, so he was hardly ever there. But he would visit once for 2 hours maybe, or whatever. Grew up in a small town where everyone's business is everyone's business, you know? And as I grew up, my mom left when I was 9 years old. So like this is like beginning of my, you know, sort of puberty, my 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, teenagehood, straight up, you know. I was a mother to my siblings, and yada, yada, yada. The whole point is that I was living in a small town where everyone's business was everyone's business, and I experienced a lot of judgment growing up. I used to hear things about myself that I wouldn't understand how people got to thinking that. I don't know why. Okay, I grew up having guy friends, and also having my mom not being around. It made, I guess, Abonyo auntie and everyone around me always be suspicious, suspect things of me, you know, be suspicious of my every activity, because they didn't know, and I managed to do all these things with it was just me, my cousin, and my siblings, my younger siblings, and abo auntie, like the nannies came and left, and like, so basically, how are these kids living, you know? So I guess that raised suspicion, and they would say things and inquire about stuff, to the point that, like, I would say, you know, my first sort of proper boyfriend after high school, I'll tell you guys a lot about my boyfriends because a lot of my stories come from that. Well, yeah, it's my story. Anyways, Boma grade 9, like, you know, hello, hi love, let's go and mix it. Okay, you know. I remember we were so young and innocent, you know, in grade 9, and he came from like a rich family, and I guess everyone was concerned about him. So we're dating with this guy, you know, cute nyana. Next thing, he comes to me on I think it was a random Saturday. Hey, I have to break up with you. Aw. Yini dot. Aw. Kwenzenjani? My mom found out that you're a bitch, you're a whore. Oh. Eh? Yeah, apparently everyone knows about you. You love men. Ew, Kabai. Okay, that hurt. Okay, life goes on. We actually ended up being friends because eventually he learned that those things weren't true. But man, oh man, I was in grade 9. What did I do to deserve that? You know, teenage love. Grade 10, I met the one, your love of my life. Yay! We were the town's everything. His mom would invite me to his place. It was just like That cute love story. He would borrow his mom's car, pick me up from school. Yo, it was everything. Everything. Like, man, oh man, you know? Next thing. Haibo, like maybe 10 months down the line, he comes, I have to break up with you. Why? Because I heard that his mom was a teacher. My mom heard from other teachers that you're a bad person. How? What is that? Like, you know me. How am I? What? And I don't know, like, it was just defeating. People had so many stories about me which were untrue, which were just thoughts, suspicions. And they created this person. And worst of all, my mom wasn't around. So you know how extended family is? I don't know if you know it, but if you don't, every weekend I would go to my paternal grandmother's side. And every weekend I was grilled by my aunts, by even my father, by cousins, uncles, brothers, half brothers, you know, cousins. We hear stories about you. You're some kind of, it's like a sleazy human being or whatever the case is. And they were never true. I was just a young girl. I'm guessing I was a young, beautiful girl who had friends, who was growing up alone, and people didn't understand how is that possible. So they would entertain ideas in their heads, and I grew the sense of always explaining myself. On weekends when I'd go to my family, I loved my family dearly. They were everything to me without my mom being around. I would go there and visit my cousins, be with them, and when I get there and everyone is just like, yeah, we heard this about you. We heard this about you. How can you be like this? Oh my God, you'll never make it. If you're like this, you think you're pretty? Oh my God, let us tell you, you think you love boys? Like, I would be like, no, guys, that's not true. That's not who I am. Like, no, guys, I didn't do it. So, and then I'd go to school and people my age would be telling me about stories that I didn't know. And some of them, the thing is, it's like they derived from some kind of truth. They would see me, for example, with my friends, with my, let's say, my neighbors' cars and them, like my friends from my neighbor. And then we'd be driving around. Then they'd be like, oh, we saw you in a car this weekend. We heard things about you. Oh my God. I would start explaining my life. No, we went for coffee and then we did this and then we left that area and then we did this and we were just going to play. It meant nothing, I swear. Even worse, my own neighbor was bullying me because he would come back every time and he was doing horrible things to me. And he would come back every time like, we heard new stories about you. I was explaining myself to my neighbor, to my friends at school, to my family at home, because I lived in town and they lived in the Bundu, so they were just like, we're hearing stories about you. And my aunts, and no one was there to protect me or actually fight for me. I remember this one time, my neighbor thought that she could have the guts to come and say stories about me to my mother when my mom was visiting from the UK. My mom was just like, I know my daughter. I know who I left here. So if you have nothing good to say, out of my house. I've never felt so secure. Like, I've never felt so secure in my life when my mom said, I trust my daughter. I trust her. I didn't just leave her here. I trust her. It gave me confidence. I was like an overachiever in school. Like, I would like win first place, second place. I was a 90 student without my mom ever being there with me running around trying to take care of her kids who were actually so annoying because they tell me that you're not our mom. So I had a lot of things going on, and I still needed to explain myself to people. And I grew a sense of it that brought a lot of anxiety growing up. Like, I was anxious. I was an anxious teenager. I'd never believed in myself. I explained myself to everyone. My best friend was my friend who came to me and said, I heard this and this and this about you, but it's okay. I don't believe them. You know, I still like you anyways. And because of her approval, I felt like she was the world to me, because she gave me something I didn't have, approval. So this saying, you care too much what people say about you, I needed to dissect it. I needed to dissect it in a way that you will understand where God stands in here and what this means. So in this anxiety-driven teenager grew an over-explanatory girl who never knew sense of identity or worth unless people approved of her. And those people that I needed their approval sometimes used it to abuse me, you know? For example, when I was dating my high school boyfriend, there was this guy who, the aunt's boyfriend, would was basically, I don't know what, a mediator in our relationship. I don't know what he was, just a predator. He would come to me and say, even though they're saying these things about you, I approve of you. Like, I think you're a cool person. I think you're good. But then he'd ask for sexual favors. He would basically force me into talking sexual stuff with him on chats, and like, he abused me for the longest of times, and I couldn't tell anyone because this person approved of me. That's just the least of my stories, guys. I can't tell you what I've done or what I've let go just because people approved of me. It's something I'm still unlearning till today. But then I cared too much what people thought of me. And it was dangerous. It was toxic. It was destructive. But I grew up. I learned a lot about God, you know? And I learned that if God approves of me, if he loves me and he thinks that I'm amazing, why should I explain myself to the next? So lucky for me, I fell in love with God, and my relationship grew stronger and stronger from then. You care too much what people think of you. It is not good to serve people. It is not good to serve an audience of many. You truly should care what God thinks of you and work from there. I had no room for error as a teenager. I had no room for error at all, because any mistake I made, I'd be falling into the trap of what they had said about me. So all my life, I've worked so hard at trying not to make mistakes, and it has led to me making even more mistakes because I try so hard not to make mistakes. And because I care what people think of me. And with knowing God, I've learned to not necessarily not care what people think of me, but to know that I cannot change how they perceive me. And if he loves me and he thinks I'm amazing, and he thinks the things that God tells me, this is what I've planted in you, this is what I see in you. I see a leader, I see a lot of things. God has told me a lot of things over the years, through people, through church, through just prayer and meditation, and a lot of things through reading. Like, God speaks to me all the time because I've allowed him. God speaks to all of us. It's just you have to have room for him to speak to you. And I've learned to serve the audience of one, which means that, yes, I do care what people think of me, but I know I can't change how they perceive me. So what God thinks of me is the most important thing, and I will be less anxious of how people perceive me. And that is what I've learned over the years and over my relationship, over growing into God and loving God more and knowing what his will and purpose is for my life. So this new age thing of you shouldn't care about what people think of you is not entirely correct. I was forced into caring too much about what people thought of me, because it wasn't just my family who bullied me, it was my community, and no one was there to stand up for me. My mom wasn't there for me, and when she was, she fought, but she wasn't there every day. At school, after school, I was explaining why whatever story had come up, why I didn't do it, and that's not what I meant. So I grew this sense of numbness, because I was a teenager. I made mistakes. And growing up, I made more mistakes, So when I made mistakes, instead of facing my mistakes for what they were, I grew numb. I grew cold. I felt like they were right about me. It's either I grew aggressively arrogant in the sense that, well, I don't care what they think of me, Or I felt self-unworthiness, like I'm not worthy of anything good because these people were right about me, Excuse me. So you care too much what people think of you. It's not good to care too much what people think of you, because you need to serve one audience, which is God. What God thinks of you is the most important thing. And if you find constructive criticism from people, you can filter it through and understand what is wrong, what is right, what you can take from it, what doesn't resonate with you. But to have a sense of, I don't care what people think of me, is a lie. That is how promiscuity is okay. That is how I got into a habit of smoking cigarettes in varsity, and instead of hiding it now, I would go back to my hometown and smoke it even if I'm in town. No, that's not how you do things. What you're doing is wrong. You're smoking cigarettes, and it's not cute, it's unlikable. Why do it in front of elder people? You don't care what people think of you? Why do it in front of a community? You don't care what people think of you? Maybe you should. You've slept with the whole town, You don't care what people think of you? Maybe you should. It should not affect who you are. It should not affect your identity. You should not try to please people. But there must be a sense of understanding that you are being watched. Your actions are out there. You live in a community where you're supposed to be responsible and accountable. So somewhere, somehow, you have to care what people think of you. You have to stand to a certain stature. What you are not in control of is how they feel about you. You can't control that. You can't even control what they think of you. But you have to have a sense of accountability to the people around you. And that means that you have to have a certain level of care what people think of you. How I grew up, no one should ever grow up. No one should ever experience that. And luckily for me, I've learned that I cannot change what people think of me. But at least I will walk in a manner that I expect to, if for example, I expect respect, I will walk respectfully, you know. If I expect honor, I will honor. I will honor those around me. I will honor my actions. Do you understand? There is room for mistakes. There's room for error, but and I please one God. I serve one God. That's the one person I need to explain myself to, not everybody. But I have a sense of responsibility and accountability to those around me. And to say I don't care what they think of me is a lie. So the rising destructive behaviors in society, in communities, come from not caring. And when people are convincing themselves, I don't care what people think of me, I think maybe you should. Don't care about it to the point that you need to prove something to them, but care about the sense of community you live around in. You need to be accountable. You need to be respectable. You need to respect. And that's how you're going to raise children. That's how you're going to have a life. What they think of you should not affect how you live your life. But you need to have a sense of accountability for how you are around people and how you are at home. That filters out to the community. I don't know if I'm making sense. But I'm just warning those people who believe that you shouldn't care what people think of you. You should not let it affect how you live your life, but you have a sense of responsibility and accountability to those around you. So, yeah, I hope I make sense. And yeah, I hope that is everything that God would have wanted me to say in that topic. See you guys next week. As I grow, I hope that you'll grow with me. Cheers.